Hello and welcome to the FOXPEDITION Podcast. We're now in episode 9 and today my guest is Krisztian. He is close protection officer and paramedic. So these are the topics we want to talk about today. How important are medical skills in the executive protection industry? And if there are standards or how we can optimize these standards, I would say. So, Krisztian, if you would like to introduce yourself.
Sure. Hi, Inga. It's really nice to be online with you. I'm Krisztian. I am a naturally Hungarian-born Dutch citizen living back in The Hague after spending a lot of time in Belgium, working from Belgium. I have been in the close protection industry for the last about 20 years, traveling the world, and I have been in the medical side of things for about the last 12, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, it's very interesting that we meet right now because I think the medical side in the close protection industry gets more and more important every year. So, how do you think the level of training is in the close protection industry on the medical side?
Well, to start out things, I think that medical has always been really important. I think that any professional team has always included medicine within their teams, and it has always been around. I think it has only come to the attention of the private sector over the recent years, and especially when the TCCC concept kind of came out more and people were taking it out of the military and it was getting known within the civilian world. And people saw that there was very accessible training relevant to I have to be careful what I say because I say relevant to the job that we do, relevant to what people believe the job is that you do. It's a little bit like a lot of people that are in the close protection industry will go out and do a lot of shooting training, which is great, especially if you carry weapons. But let reality talk, and in most of the countries that you work in, armed protection is just not for the civilian world, and you will be working less with weapons than you would maybe like or that you're training for. So it has always been important. It has always been there. And when it came out into the private sector, people started working on medicine, and then smart people started saying, well, okay, basic first aid, but is that enough? And do we need to do more than basic first aid? And then came the whole TCCC, and everyone was like, oh, this is cool because if my principal gets shot, or if something really, really, really bad happens, like the worst day in the office will actually happen. Oh man, this 2-day course actually gives us a solution for that. And I'm not afraid to admit it, but this is how I got in contact with medicine, because somebody said to me, hey, you do close protection. Have you heard about TCCC? No, not really. You should do the course. And I went to do the course. Wow, this is fantastic. I can literally save everybody. And this is great. Next time somebody gets shot, I will know what to do. And you start thinking, hang on, but when was the last time that somebody got shot? Like, never. When was the last time we really, really had a really bad car accident? Like, never, because we just have good drivers and you be careful what you do. And today, everybody is TCCC, and everybody they go out and work even in the hostile environments. They will go out and everybody's asking, are you TCCC qualified? And with that, are you a medic? And everybody that does a 2-day course is now a medic because they have a TCCC license that they will refresh every so many years, and then add some stop the bleed to it, which is just a part of the whole concept. And then these are medics. And then you actually go out to work and you are missing so many answers to so many questions, and you're just referring them to, yep, I'll take you to a doctor. And then you pick up the principal and you take them to a doctor because you have no idea what to do with them, which absolutely makes sense because that's what doctors are for. But the problem gets to, if I'm happy to take you to a doctor in a place that I don't know the doctor because, hey, you travel to a place where you have to go, and this is for something simple, and the client or the principal might not want you to be in the room with them, and they're leaving them with somebody in a room that could literally end or start a life with a simple pill. And again, are we really worried about that? Maybe not. But are there solutions for that? Yes. And working, and especially in the last couple of, I would say, 3 years, having been a team medic or being on the team as a medic, carrying around a bag that's way too big, I realized that, you know what, TCCC is great. It's fantastic. I would never give it up for anything, but it's just not enough. It's not what is requested of you.
Yeah.
So I think there might be a misconception in the world of executive protection, and I'm not saying everywhere because there's plenty of teams that know what they're doing and they have great medics, like actual medics on board, and they will sponsor their paramedics to get the necessary hours. But as we discussed offline, when you said the 007 factor, yeah, it is absolutely true. It is so true.
Yeah.
And not to forget, what about the law? Like, what am I allowed to do and what am I not allowed to do? And I am one of those people. I'm a big fan of I will do it and ask forgiveness later because they need it. Let's
Yeah.
do it and we'll see what happens. But that might, put me out of business. That might put some people in really bad, precarious situations if I don't know what the actual law is and I pretend, hey, I'm a medic and I can solve stuff. People will look at you and go, okay, now solve this because this is what we've got, and you are the one that is hired to do so.
Yeah. No, it's funny that you mentioned the James Bond. I don't know if you have seen this meme of our colleague on LinkedIn where it was said 0 patient contact, 0 hours in the ambulance, or 0 medical skills. But I've been to TCCC like 7 times. So yeah, and like you're saying, if you're assigned as a medic, even though whatever this is in the CP industry, then it's your job to save the client. And like you said, it's not very often that the client is shot or something. Maybe he has a heart attack or something else to deal with. So maybe from your experience, what are the major things that clients have? Like you said, they're not often shot or in a heavy car accident. So what is it that you're treating as a medic, as a CP medic?
I have 2 really nice examples that I can give you without citing, anybody. But so first of all, depending on where you work, there's a big difference. Am I working somewhere in Africa and I am, working really remotely, and is it my responsibility to start from A and end with Z? Which means I'm looking out for the team, I'm looking out for the client, and I'm actually advising the client, hey, you know what, you need to drink more, you need to go to the bathroom more, you need to eat differently because that's also part of being a medic. And it's really hard if, first of all, you don't have any experience in the region. How are you going to know what the client needs or what they should or should not be eating? Um, and on the other hand, if you are not the sole provider, you're literally just there for the big boo-boo stuff. Um, I don't think you are there just for the big boo-boo stuff, because if the client agrees to hire you as a medic and bring it back to the business side of things, they will know, oh, you're a paramedic, and that's why I'm paying you €5 per hour more than the guy who's driving me. Yeah, that's why, because I got this whole big bag and it's very expensive. And but then they will turn to you and they will tell you, hey, you know what? I don't really feel too well. Do you have a paracetamol for me? Now, I see this a lot. Like every close protection officer will be like, oh yeah, I got my little over-the-counter medication here, and I will give them, all this over-the-counter medication that I also would take. Okay, that's great. But we recently had a very interesting incident in which, working outside, very hot, and one of the clients makes a dash for it, has a run, and almost collapses and just, goes white, falls down, and we're like, okay, well, hey, you know what? You stood up too fast, you started running, your heartbeat went down, your blood pressure went into your socks, and you'll be fine. And everybody came around. They were like, "Oh, would you have, you should drink some water." Yeah, sure, drink some water. That'll do magic for you, but why not? And I just said, "Hey, you know what? Do you mind if I just have a look at your blood pressure?" I thought it's cool because I can get some, training in and pick up a BP on the ground in Africa. Great. And the BP was really shit. Like I looked at it and I was like, okay, I don't like this. This is too low, but I will give you 5 minutes, get your bearings back. Blood pressure just kept going down. Okay, I really don't like this. So, have you been drinking today? It's really hot. Yeah, I had plenty of drinks. I drink a liter of water. It's like 45 degrees. You've been outside. Okay, so I would like to start an IV. I just want that BP to go up, so I'm going to hydrate you aggressively. So that's where it starts. Like you're sitting there, this person goes down, and we all know what to do. Like a basic first aid provider will put them on the ground, put their feet up. Okay, well, in this case, that would not have helped,
No.
which we didn't know at the time. Or a TCCC provider will be looking at like, oh man, maybe if I put a tourniquet on both legs, then I get the BP up. Like because if they have that understanding already, hey, great success. But so as things go and I get the BP up, but it's not going well. So I start thinking, and then hey, maybe it's an electrolyte imbalance in this person. So maybe I shouldn't be giving them normal saline. I should have gone to ringers or whatever. But already this knowledge, and you don't have a doctor on site. So telemedicine. Okay, get telemedicine. But what does the doctor want to know? And if the doctor tells you, hey, you need to aggressively start hydrating this person, I don't know how to put an IV in.
Yeah.
The person that does a 2-day TCCC course, who does the advanced course, and they teach you about IVs because today the TCCC course includes IVs. They're like, well, I have never actually put an IV in somebody. So now we have a dehydrated patient with a blood pressure in their socks, and this is your first sting. Oh boy, that's gonna
Yeah.
suck for two people. So this was one of those examples where I said, hey, you know what? Now I understand why I'm carrying this big kid on my back. I understand why I have these skills. And I was I was happy with myself. I actually, there's a picture, somebody took a picture, I'm putting in an IV and I'm smiling because, hey, this is all, this is cool, actual medicine in an actual bad place. But then the patient just wouldn't get better.
No.
And you realize, oh man, now it starts to suck. And like, what are we going to do? So in the end, we found out what the patient had. But then again, I realized, man, this whole level and 3 years of study just to get, that little license and still not knowing how to treat my patient. And they didn't even get shot. It was not an accident. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
patient just sat down and said, hey, I'm all white and I don't feel too good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's your responsibility. That's your client. There you go.
No, definitely. Not. It's funny that you said this tourniquet thing because that's basically what you learn. That's what you learn in the police force because as I said, there's a different standard in I would say governmental protection and the private industry. But also in the police, you just learn like get the tourniquet on and get the patient to the hospital. And I mean, you said you're also from Europe, so there are hospitals all around. Their ambulances are all around. You call them, they're there in I think from the law it's like 10 or 12 minutes till
Yeah,
they
we had
have
the
to
same.
arrive. So and then they know what they're doing. But I think you also worked in Mali, right?
Exactly.
So and even if there would be an ambulance on hospital, do they speak our language? Do they speak English? Have they an idea what they are doing? So is everything sterile, or do you go to hospital and then you come out worse than you went in? So it's very interesting that you're saying that. And I could imagine that that's a very normal case that the patient says, "I'm not feeling well," and then everyone who has his tourniquet says, "Okay, I have no idea what I'm doing." And I experienced that myself in my close protection course, where we had exactly that example that the client just says, "Oh, I'm not feeling well. I have some pressure on my chest," and I literally said, "He's not bleeding, so I have no idea what to do with him." And everyone laughed, but everyone was like, "Yeah, that's like the reality." If you went to, I did tech, for example, not TCCC, but the how to say the civil
TCC, the
course,
civilian
right?
version.
Yeah, so I kind of feel you. Um, yeah. So maybe can you tell a little bit more about what we should do as close protection officer? Because I think not everyone has the time to go on 3 years. I think you did for paramedic, right?
Yeah.
So what would you recommend us as close protection officers? What shall we do if we can't have the 3 years paramedic
So
school?
I totally agree with you that not everybody has the time, or you don't want to take the time, or simply, while you're studying, you're not working. If you're not working, you're not making money.
Yeah.
So I get that, and it's totally understandable. If it's not a passion, you're not gonna you prefer working. Um, Now, basic first aid is not enough. I don't believe it's enough, even though, as you said, and this is a very valid excuse that I hear a lot. They're like, hey, all we are supposed to do is keep them, just do heart compressions if they go into cardiac arrest, and then the ambulance will get there. They will be there. We have a really good system in place. True. In most parts of Europe, it's absolutely true. So, sometimes people tell me, hey, we've got basic first aid and that's what we should have. And I get that. And you're not allowed to do more either because, what are you allowed to do? That does not mean that if you're designated as a medic that you should stop there. You should get your basic first aid certification. You should get your CPR certification. It's very important. You should get your TCCC because if the worst day in your office ever happens, if you're working the trauma detail, then it happens twice. You should know about that stuff. And great. And I believe that if you don't want to go the route that, hey, I want to become a full-fledged paramedic and I want to keep that license in check, and that means that you have to do your skill rotations, you have to go to work on hospitals, etc. It doesn't matter, but why don't you go out and do more short-based courses? Like go do an ITLS, a PSTLS course, do an advanced life support course, go do an ACLS course. Yes, you're not allowed to, inject medication and you still won't know what to do, but at least you will understand and you will have a better idea if your client one is making wrong life choices. You will be better in giving them advice if that advice is asked for, or you can, talk to the team leader, or you can talk to somebody and say, hey, listen, with my limited knowledge of medicine, this might not be a good idea. You will understand physiology. You might ask the client some questions before you pop a paracetamol and ibuprofen, and like you have a headache. I understand that, sir. Would you like me to make something like an isotopic drink for you so that because you're probably dehydrated from? And they're like, well, I've been having coffee all day, but you understand why. And I know everything I'm saying is very logical, and everybody in the world knows this. But if you show that, hey, I went to do a couple of courses and I'm not a paramedic, but I have some more knowledge, you can be taken seriously. You might
Yeah.
reconsider the kit that you're carrying with you, so you might make your life a little bit easier. You will be able to take care of your teammates because your teammates will allow you to do much more on them than obviously you would do on the client. And a teammate might require something of you. On the other hand, I think it's really important that having a team medic, it's great. But what happens if that guy gets sick? What happens if that guy gets
Yeah.
left behind? Everybody needs to have that. Now, it's a great
Yeah.
opportunity. Everybody goes out and trains. Like if you're talking about, minimum professionalism in a team, then they will get together and go train. They will do some
Yeah.
driving, procedures, whatever. Why don't you go out and do some medical training all together? And you, the person, that should have a little bit more knowledge. Hey, you know what, guys? Let's train a little bit on this, or let's just
Yeah.
discuss cardiac rhythms, or let's discuss the AED. And I don't believe that is done enough. And I can hear the audience already saying, "Oh yeah, we do that all the time." Of course,
Yeah.
because there's always somebody who does that all the time. But it's interesting when you go out and I talk to teams and I talk to different people and then, ask them, so guys, just for medical, what do you guys know? Oh, we are all full medics and he's our advanced medic. Okay, cool. So, like, what do you do? Well, we did the 3-day TCCC course instead of the 2. Okay, great. So you guys, you're
Mm-hmm.
popping IV, so I can ask you to find, oh, no, we never did that because the law doesn't allow us. I get that. I totally get that. And you shouldn't stay away from it. But on the other hand, you're working in Africa. You just took your client into to the bush. You're working on a yacht, and you are about 12 hours sailing from the next port. Guy comes back from a diving accident. What are you gonna
Mm-hmm.
do?
Yeah. Yeah, I also think, of course, law is the law, but if you can prevent someone from dying or from having like maybe lifetime consequences of whatever he did, I think it's better to do something, even though it is against the law. But who will, who will judge you? So if the person is alive, I think he won't go and put you into court. So
Well, it's a very nice discussion, and if you talk to people, they will say, yeah, but it's very risky, and
of
true,
course,
absolutely, and we agree. On the other hand, something that comes with that, then you could say, well, how can we circumvent this? And you need to have a medical director. And why would you have a medical director? Hey, because you want to be able to do some stuff. Like I cannot just go and pop an IV into somebody. I have to call a doctor who is
yeah,
okay with that, and they will tell me, okay, Chris, yeah, I know what you want to do. I know why. Go. which immediately professionalizes your team, which allows your team to say, hey, you know what, we don't do more than we are allowed to, but we understand more. And just the fact that you understand more is great because we do it in driving, we do it in shooting training. Like people will go out and they will teach you the basic safety rules of a firearm. That should be enough. That is like your basic first aid. No, we all go out and then you learn all kinds of very fancy, cool techniques, shooting from the hip. If you're from Germany, right?
Yes.
Well, I know in Germany you can, legally carry a weapon if you have a quite short course and they give you the license and you can carry. But I'm pretty sure that the day that you shoot somebody dead from the hip, there will be some explanation to be done.
Definitely.
But we still do it. And why do we do it? Because everybody knows that if you train more with that firearm, you will be more safe. You will be better with the basics. You will not by accident shoot somebody because you get range time.
Yeah.
So that's why, I'm currently doing a residency in a hospital here and I'm following a surgeon. And one of the nurses asked, oh man, this is cool. Are you going to be doing surgery in the field? No, dude, I don't want to do surgery in the field.
No.
But I understand stuff and I see, oh man, so I'm just learning and I'm getting more out of it. Doesn't mean that, what am I doing instead of going out shooting or instead of going for driver training? Saturday and Sunday, let's go to a hospital and see what's possible. So I think that we are not doing enough of that. People are very happy if they can do cool stuff. And medicine, unless you are doing the TCCC, is uncool. Like the ACLS course, it's horrible. It's awful. I hate cardiology. It's hard.
True.
You actually need a brain to understand it. And it's uncool. You don't have, your scenarios. You can literally do them on a table because you can. So it's uncool. So people are like, why would I do that? I don't really need it. It's true, but you also don't need to be able to put on a tourniquet in 5 seconds flat and then extract the patient out of a vehicle through a burning building because you will just never do that. However, we do it. Why? Because you become more efficient with the tools that you have and you understand it better. So when you ask what should we do, we should invest more in stuff that actually bores us. I'll give you an example. I have a good friend. He's a butler. And he came to me and said, hey, Chris, I have a training for you guys. So yeah, okay. I know how to tie my tie. Like I learned it when I was young. I said, oh no, I'm gonna teach you guys how to eat properly when you are at a diplomatic venue. And I started thinking about like man, can you teach me how to eat lobster and stuff like that? How to open it? Like sure, I can. All the forms. Oh man, that is cool. So we did that, and was it the most thrilling course in my life? No, I can tell you after 8 hours, you're like, oh man, if he talks again, I'm going to literally make him disappear. But it's stuff that you need. And then you find yourself at a table in a fancy restaurant and you're like, hey, I actually understand how the glasses work and you don't look so much out of place.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the nuances because there are a lot of bodyguards out there, a lot of close protection. One is cooler than the others. One has more James Bond experience than the others. And I see it, like you said, especially in shooting trainings. I know my LinkedIn is full with the next more cool shooting course. And let's try this out of the hip with closed eyes, with turning around, they're shooting everything from everywhere right now. So, yeah, but maybe it's like the small things, like how do I eat lobster if you're sitting in a restaurant and you're just embarrassing the client because you have no idea what you're doing. And the same with what you said. Did you drink enough water today? No, okay, I put the IV line and then you will feel better within, 15 minutes. Know how long it takes. But yeah, so, and that's impressive to the client as well. And that separates you from the rest, I would say. And yeah, it's the small things, I would say. So I think you talked a little bit about tools and kit, and I think that's what a lot of stuff you need, especially as a medic. We had that recently that someone calls us and say, hey, can you send a medic down to somewhere in Africa? Because our medic needed to give away his kit at the border. So he couldn't bring his kit. So they said, hey, can you send a medic with a kit somehow to Africa. So how do you do it with your kid, with medication, for example, with all the stuff you need to bring in?
Yeah. I have to touch some wood because I've been very lucky. I have one
Okay.
big bag. I carry my bag. It actually contains everything. Depending on where I go, I will sometimes take the risk of having my medication with me, which is
Okay.
just the basic ACLS medication, and there is some very controlled drugs. And depending on the country, I will say, hey, I take it and I take the risk. We also have a medical director, and I do have paperwork proving that the doctor has prescribed me these medications, which
Perfect.
means nothing at all, but it's a level, it's a level off. So that definitely is like people will have EpiPens, and that's great. They should carry Epi. But on the other hand, it's epinephrine. If somebody doesn't know or they're like, oh, this is injectable, that's not good. Have your doctor sign off on it and just have a paper. It might help. I actually fly with my kit on board, so I never put it down in the luggage because I just don't want to lose it. I don't want it to be broken, and I want to have it. I don't want him to lose it. So I travel with that, and except for my scissors, forceps, and stuff like that, I always lose. Like I try, and if it goes, hey, great. If it doesn't, okay, well, take it. I actually bought some disposable ones now, so if I lose it, hey, whatever, it's €5 and it's okay. On the other hand, if I know that I'm going to a country where I cannot get drugs, then that's where the search starts. And then I go look for a doctor in country and I contact them and say, hey, listen, I'm working for this and this person. I will be coming. I will be there 1 or 2 days ahead. This is my license. This is what I do. This is my medical director. So I put them in touch and I tell them, because of my client's needs, I need these and these medications. Can you help? Now, they might be able to, might not be able to. On the other hand, the diplomatic way is also a way. You can always contact your embassy and say, hey, listen, I'm working, I'm a Dutch citizen. I have this is my license, again, registration, so the law needs to be on your side. And I require this in your country. What is the rules and legislation? Like, I would never fly into Saudi Arabia with fentanyl in my bag because, well, that's death. Or
Yeah.
go to Thailand and have some kind of narcotics on me. But then you try to source it locally through sources that you trust. So you have to make like it's not your local drug dealer where you go to, hey, can you get me this and this? And I would like my fentanyl, injectable, not to smoke, because God knows what they bring you.
Yeah.
But and that has actually worked out really well. Or you get in touch with an organization like yours, for example, that does this kind of work, and then you tell them, hey, how do I source that? Can you help me with that? However, this is also a very good selling point for CP teams because now you can actually tell your client, hey, we have an advance going in, but they're also taking care of the medical side. And then because when as a close protection you do advance and you tell the client, I need to go there because I need to check out the place. They're like, we hired a local security company because we wanted to, we wanted people that know. Yes, it doesn't matter if it's the house next to mine. I still want to go and have a look just because, you know
Yeah.
why. But now I can tell them, hey, we need to source some medication and we need to check the emergency room just in case something happens. And that really talks, that speaks to them because everybody realizes there's nothing you can do against a medical emergency. They believe that you will save them from everything else, but they also know that, hey, I have been eating a lot of mayonnaise recently, so I'm probably getting a coronary. Okay, so that's why I am heading there. I'm going to be, I'm going in advance just to make sure that they can treat you. Oh, that's good. They like that. So all of a sudden you can do your advance. You have some time to source medication and to set up shop the way that you want it to be set up.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. I think that have been very good tips, not only for close protection officers, but also for medics working abroad, that they don't have the trouble at the border or or worse. So yeah, thank you very much, Krisztian. Yeah, maybe to sum up a bit. So you said close protection officers or operators should not only do like TCCC, but also the boring stuff, like normal paramedic stuff, maybe even go to a hospital. We did it in South Africa, for example. We did go to an ambulance and said, hey, can we do some shifts with you? We also see like the normal stuff that normal people just could have. And yeah, for paramedics, you said, or for the CP teams, that they can go to the embassy, for example, and ask them what are the local laws, or go to a hospital in the country. And I think by get in contact to the hospital, you can also source out what they can do, how you can work together with them, because maybe the major city is fine, they have ambulance, everything else, but maybe in the rural areas it's not too good, or even the standards from the hospitals in the big city, like the private hospital, might be extremely good with English-speaking doctors, and others maybe not. So I think that's a very good way to source out the capabilities in the country also. So is there anything you would like to add, or like a last statement of you that should go out to the world?
Maybe the last statement that everybody should know is that you are never done learning, and that
Yes.
piece of paper that you get is just a piece of paper. You need practice, so keep it
Yeah.
in your routines and teach your team if you know something.
Yeah, I think I've read that especially in medicine, like every 5 years, like the amount of knowledge doubles or something. So like you said, you need to be on the pulse of time. So learning everything, because just you did TCCC once doesn't mean that you're a medic. So thank you very much, Krisztian. It was very interesting to meet you. And maybe we see each other in person one day.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate it, and I hope so. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.